That's like, see, that's the shit wrong with Canadians and their freedoms. They don't have any. So you know who gave you rights? The king. Your government gave you rights. In America, we don't have kings. You know who's the sovereign? The people were sovereign. We created the sovereign state. We get our rights from God, not from the government. So you have your rights that were ordained to you by the God-appointed king who administers the government through his House of Lords and his other fraudulent bullshit. We don't have that shit in our country. We don't have that shit here. You know what we have? Where did it go? We have this guy right here. Those three documents: Declaration of Independence, Constitution, and Bill of Rights. You guys don't have something like this. You guys don't have anything. You don't have anything in Canada. A Chart of Rights and Liberty. Yeah, I know, I've read it. But all right, let me pull that up, because it's been a while since I've gone down this road with the Canadian thing. Canada, what is it called? Bill Rights of Chart of Rights, and it always has a caveat that that you have, except for whatever the hell it is. Look, it's Department of Justice, right? Here we go. Here we go. Canadian constitutional law, you guys. Here we go. Protects a number of rights and freedoms, including the freedom of expression. Like so tired of saying. The freedom and the right to equality, which is DEI. It forms part of our Constitution, the highest law in all of part of their Constitution. They don't even have a real Constitution like real governments. Not like everybody else. All right. No, I don't want the Braille version. You see how much shit you got to go through? A statement identifies potential effects that a bill... Okay, okay, here it is. You have to get a list because, you know, they can't give you the original documents, guys. And by the way, guys, Canadians don't even realize this. This document we're reading is not the original document that they have as, like, our Constitution. We could pull up our Constitution, we pull up our Declaration of Independence, all our shit. This isn't actually the real document. This is a synopsis of it, and they think that this is what's in the documents. Most Canadians have never read this alleged Constitution that doesn't even exist. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Mobility rights. What the fuck is that? All right, here we go. They fall into 7 broad categories: fundamental freedoms, democratic rights, mobility rights, legal rights, equality rights, official language rights, minority language educational rights. What the fuck is that, right? What the fuck is that? We'll go through this because we got a lot of Canadians in our spaces in general. Everyone in Canada is free to practice, and they spell practice wrong, any religion or no religion at all. We are also free to express religious beliefs through prayer or by wearing religious clothing, for example. However, here's the caveat. However, the charter also ensures that others also have the right to express their religious beliefs in public, right? We are free to think out our religion, speak. I'm going to skip all this shit. None of this matters. All right, right here. This includes the right to protest against a government action or institution. However, here we go. These rights are not unlimited. They may be limited on how you express their... Right, here it is, guys. And this isn't the actual document, you guys. Show me where do you find the actual document, because it doesn't exist. This is just a synopsis. However, these freedoms are not unlimited. Not unlimited. They may be limited on how you express your religious beliefs if your way of doing so would infringe on the rights of others or undermine complex public programs and policies. Okay, let me read that again for you. These freedoms, they're not rights or liberties. These freedoms are not unlimited. They may be limited on how you express your religious beliefs if your way of doing so would infringe on rights of others or undermine complex public programs and policies. For example, you may have religious reason to object having your photo taken for a driver's license, but this requirement may be linked to need to stop others from unlawfully using your identity. That's a bad example. They threw that in there, so you're like, oh, that makes sense. We're Canadian. You have to have your ID picture. That's not what they're talking about. In addition, the Charter does not protect expression, such as hate speech that includes threats of violence or that form violence. So, okay, that's part of it, but it also doesn't allow you to speak your mind freely. And again, this is not the actual document because the document doesn't exist. The media also has certain rights. I won't even go into that. Let's go back to the election. That one's irrelevant. Mobility. That's just the right to leave, whatever bullshit, reside, seek work, I don't know why you have to spell that out. All right. This is legal rights. Right to be secure against unreasonable search and seizure, which is not true. They could search your phones. They could do just about anything with this shit. This is not America, right? The Charter protects everyone's reasonable expectation of privacy. This means that no one can search you, take away your personal belongings, or access personal information without clear legal reasons. Legal reasons, right? So everything has a conditional part to it, like unless this, unless that. There's no rights in here, guys. This is Canada for you. Interactions with the judicial system, or the justice system, sorry. The Charter sets out rights that deal with interactions between the justice system and individuals. These rights ensure that individuals are treated fairly at every stage of the process. This is especially true if an individual is charged with a crime. Yeah, right. Go to Canada. They don't have court systems like ours. There's no due process like we understand it, right? Their due process is not the same as ours. Protection against arrest without good cause. Not reasonable cause, right? Good cause, right? What's good cause? Guess what? The elites get to define it. The Charter also says that law enforcement agencies cannot take action against individuals that are random or not backed by good reasons. So, what is a good reason? Well, he's talking about the king, right? A police officer, for example, I'm not even going to say the examples because they do this shit because the dumb Canadians are like, yeah, that's true. If you are charged with an offense and they spelt offense wrong, again, Canadians, like the British spell, they still can't spell it like Americans, right? Let me zoom in on this so you guys could see what I'm reading. If you are charged with an offense with a C, not with an S, under federal or provisional law, you have the right to be told quickly of the offense you are charged with, be tried within a reasonable time frame, choose not to testify at your own trial, be presumed innocent till whatever bullshit, only be denied with cause, juries for serious crimes, no one gives a shit about that. Charter protects you from cruel and unusual punishment, torture, okay, whatever. Rights in courts. Okay, here we go, guys, the whopper. Equality rights are the core of the Charter. They are intended to ensure that everyone is treated with the same respect, dignity, and consideration, without discrimination, mind you, regardless of personal characteristics like race, national, ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, residency, marital status, or citizenship. As a result, everyone should be treated the same under the law. Okay, in practice, yeah, that's what it should, but it doesn't. I'm not going to read the rest of the bullshit. Okay, this is the funny part. The Charter established that English and French are the official language of the country. Go to Canada and you'll see why. I'm not even going to read any of this shit. No one cares about your languages. Every province and territory has an official language minority community, right? What the fuck is that, right? Get out of here. I'm not even going to read any of that. Canadian citizens living outside Quebec have the right to send their children to French schools if, this is like the black schools, the white school, the segregation shit. That's what it is, guys. Let's be real, because the people that speak French are like the more elite people in Canada. Their mother tongue, last modified, whatever. So there's that bullshit. That's their charters of freedom that they so greatly brag about. Now, let's look up the Canadian Constitution. Let's see where that exists.
I think the RGC are exercising limited control over parts of their organization, but the civil side, I think, is broken down.
Let's see if that even exists.
Complicated to deal with the RANT under normal conditions, so these are certainly not normal.
Okay, where is their constitution? Where do I get a copy of this thing? Wouldn't you want to read your document? Like, where is your constitution? How do we find it? Like, where is the Constitution? Oh, let's go back and let's look this over, guys. Canada was created by an Act of Parliament of the United Kingdom called the British North American Act. 1867, now known as the Constitution Act of 1867, uniting British colonies of the United Province of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. The Constitution includes the Act. It's an act. It's a congressional, or it's a parliamentary act. Constitution Act of 1867, Constitution Act of 1982, and so laws that are created in Great Britain is their constitution, guys. That's not a constitution. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Laws are not constitutions. There is no constitution. You have no rights in Canada other than that which the motherland, the British, the Redcoats tell you through laws. You are like what we have in our country. You are reservation Indians. You guys are reservationists. You guys have no rights. You have nothing but what the government gives you. So again, it goes back to the fundamental difference between the greatest country on earth, the United States. We have a Declaration of Independence, we have a Constitution, and we have a Bill of Rights. You guys don't have that. You have the Parliamentary of United Kingdom that passed the British North American Act of 1867, which is now the Constitution Act of 1867, because they renamed it, because they wanted to say, well, it's the Constitution Act. No. United Kingdom created the British North American Act, and then uniting the colonies under the thereafter with when they called it the Constitution Act of 1982. So the supreme law of the land of Canada is a law that was created by the United Kingdom. That is no constitution. So when you say you're a constitutional monarch, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Study your own history. Study your own history. And then you'll wonder why we're pleading for you guys to offset the yoke of the monarch, because you guys are a satellite country. And all it's doing is making the Canadians be subordinate to the elites. That's why you guys have no rights. You have no rights. You have no rights other than was given to you by the government. In America, let me turn to the American way of freedom. Let me just go briefly to one document. And by the way, you could go look up our Constitution. It's a written document signed. You could look at our Declaration of Independence. It's a written document. It's signed. You could look at our Bill of Rights. They're adopted by the Congress and amended into the Constitution. You guys don't have a Constitution. You have an act of Parliament from the United Kingdom that makes your Constitution. So you don't have a Constitution, so therefore you're not a constitutional monarch. You're not even a democracy at that point. And I love how Canada thinks they're a democracy. They're not. They're not, guys. They have these people thinking they are, and it's kind of sad to see. It's really sad to see, because I would love the Canadians to stand up. And I'm saying it with all respect to people in your country, that you guys need to stand up for your rights. Or guess what? You don't deserve them. Or you don't deserve them. You do not deserve them. So in Congress assembled July 4th, 1776, this is the Declaration of Independence. When we declared our freedom from your ilk, from your people, they're still your overlords, Canada. They are still your overlords. The unanimous declaration of these 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another. Sorry, I'm adding words here. And to assure among the powers of this earth the separate and equal stations to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare their cause which impel them to the separation. Those are very strong words. This is how we gained our rights. We fought for them. We fought a war for them. You guys did nothing. You did nothing but allow the British over in a little ass island to give you a constitution, alleged constitution, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
But the civil side, I think, is broken down.
To secure those rights, governments are instituted among men, depriving their just power from the consent of the governed.
Representing the Iranian position.
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And according all experience hath shown that mankind we are more disposed to suffer why evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the form to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, invades a design to deduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to offset such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of the colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries, usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. And then we go on to list all the grievances that we had against your king that granted you this alleged constitution. So, I mean, that's how you get your freedom and write a constitution. You got to start with something like that. Until you guys have your own Declaration of Independence, you have no constitution. You have no government. You have a dictatorship, a despotism. That's what you have in Canada. Period. Period. Learn your own history before you come and tell us Americans about fucking democracy and about constitutions. The Canadian, sorry to say it, even though we have a lot of good Canadian brethren that fought in many wars with us, you guys have no government. You have no constitution. You have no freedom or liberties. Period. It's just a fact. It's a hard fact to swallow. I get it. If I was in your shoes, it would be hard to swallow and hear someone like me saying that as an American. Because we have freedoms. We have a constitution. We have offset the yoke of the Brits. Great Britain. Again, the United Kingdom, called the British North American Act of 1867, also known as the Constitution Act, created through an act of parliament, oversees your government. You guys have Canada is it's a farce. You guys are a satellite state. In geopolitics, it's called a satellite state. Go look it up. Canada is nothing more than a satellite state. And the only reason why we respect them is because we're allies with the British. We set aside our differences a long time ago. Go read the Hudson Bay Treaty. Go read all the treaties we signed with Great Britain. We don't sign treaties with you guys. Canada? You guys are a joke. Like, Canada's a joke. I'm just going to be serious. And this is the shit I was saying when I was in Canada, that you guys, and that's what almost got me arrested, was what I'm saying right now. Challenging someone that's like, oh, we have a constitution and more rights. Almost got me arrested. Almost got me arrested. But yeah, either way, I don't like to talk down on Canada at all, but I'm saying it from the kindness of my heart. I wish you guys would just really offset the yoke and free your guys' selves. You know, and if you go back to when we fought the British, the Redcoats, a lot of the country did not want to separate. We wanted to continue to be the satellite that Canada is. Actually, a large majority of our country were against independence, if you study the history. And that's where you get the 3%ers from. The 3%er comes from only 3% of our country supported independence and actively fought against it. So we had our own people that were, actively working against the independence movement were fighting our war of independence. You had a lot of people that were against it. And the Canadians are just, I'll be honest with you, that war, when we pushed the Canadians north and all the treaties we signed and all that stuff, the peace treaties and everything, I'm not going to go into the particulars, that's why the Canada is where it's at. They're just a satellite state of the Great Britain. They're not a real country. I mean, they might act like it. They might be a part of the UN and prance around with their own military, but at the end of the day, they're not a real country, in my opinion. And I just backed it up with what created your Constitution was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. So you tell me what other country, I'll give you an example, Puerto Rico, right? Everybody knows Puerto Rico, right? Or Guam. Who gives them rights? An act of Congress of the United States, right? And what are they? They're territories, right? So we use different words. They might call it a welfare or whatever the fuck they call it. They call it a different word in Canada, but it's the same thing. It's like Puerto Rico saying we're a country. Shut the fuck up, Puerto Rico, or Guam, or the Solomon Islands, or some shit, right? All the little territories we have. It's like they're saying we're a country. No, you're not. Get the fuck out of here. You do as the Congress tells you. You do as the Congress tells you. Yeah, Canadians do love Americans. I agree with that. They do, 100%. They do. A lot of the good Canadians there, they agree with me. Trust me. But the libtards I was arguing with, what city was that? Right across the border of Washington. That super liberal city where all the druggies are. Fuck, Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver. It was in Vancouver. That's where, yeah, super liberals. Everywhere else other than Vancouver and Canada is, it's not the same. We'll just say that. Canada, the rest of Canada is pretty chill. But you go to Vancouver, it's a cesspool. It's a cesspool there. I don't know what the deal is with that city. I don't know what the deal is. He just read it. Do you not listen?
Okay, Jackie, over here on the map.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Canadians don't want to accept it. I get it. I wouldn't want to accept it either. And I'll continue. What does our Constitution say? Again, remember, most Canadians have never actually read their Constitution, this alleged Constitution that doesn't exist. They go to the government sources, and if you go to a lot of the Canadian books, and I've got a couple, they're a little older, they don't actually show you the documents. I'll have to pull up the documents for you. It's the British North American Act of 1867, which is now the Constitution Act. You have to go back and read that. And the Constitution Act of 1982, which amended it or added some shit to it, right? Let me continue. Yeah, but so tired. The thing is the act of the British Parliament gave the Canadian Parliament the power to create the Constitution, right? So it's a law. What created the Parliament of your country to be able to operate is not premised on a Constitution. You had your powers granted to you by the British. Do you not understand that? So Canada was created by an act of Parliament of the United Kingdom, not by your country. Do you not know that? I mean, I'm on your government's website, justice.cg.ca. Can you not read? Like, can you not read this? I mean, if you can't, that's from your government website. This is like going to whitehouse.gov. Do you not read that? I'll read it slowly for you, because you're slow. Did you know Canada was created by an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom called the British North American Act of 1867, now known as the Constitution Act of 1867, uniting the British colonies of the United Province of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. Can you not read? And of course, going after these small boats to make clear that the Iranians have no. I mean, you have to be able to read to, like, we can't go on to have a discussion about a topic when you can't agree on fundamental facts. If you can't agree on fundamental facts, you cannot have an honest discussion with someone that has no clue what they're fucking talking about. I mean, it's that simple. So again, Canada was created by an act of Parliament of the United Kingdom.
Yes, that I think
Period.
true. It's also why they are attacking
Not the Canadian Parliament. They didn't create shit. They were given their power by the United Kingdom. The Constitution of Canada that doesn't exist includes the Constitution Act and the Constitution Act of whatever. What the Constitution says.
To allow the regime in Tehran to be appearances that they are supporting
the Constitution was look at this, guys. Patriated from the United Kingdom in 1982. When Canada was created, it was a self-governing British colony, right? British colony, guys. They're going back to the 1600s with these guys. Codified many of the constitutional rules, but majority changes only made could only be made by the United Kingdom Parliament, right? In 1982, the Charter was enacted as part of Canada's Constitution, right? Like, oh my God. And the recent Constitutional Act allowed the Parliament to now amend it, right? All right, now look. The King has executive power in Canada.
How much more complicated does it
Such a
make it
joke,
now,
guys.
knowing that
Canada's
this
such a joke.
possibility
I
still have-
studied Canadian politics years ago, guys, and knew this shit off the back of my head. It's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. I hate reading it. The Canadian Constitution is not a document at all. So tired. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. You don't have a constitution. There is no Canadian Constitution. Point me to it. You don't have a constitution. You have an act of Parliament. That's called a law. A law grants you what's called civil. Oh my God. We won't even go into it. Go read Blackstone and people of the era and why it's important that you need to know how to distinguish the difference between rights that are given to you by government and rights that are inherently endowed to you by your being. By you just breathing, you're endowed with certain rights in our country. In your country, you're endowed by the government with rights, not here in America. There's a fundamental difference between that. But either way, so you're not a constitutional monarch. We got the constitutional part out of there. You don't have a constitution. You're a satellite colony of a monarch, a constitutional monarch, because the real constitutional monarch is overseas, the king, right? So he's the executive power in Canada. But in our democratic society, the king's powers are exercised by the Constitutional Convention on the advice of ministers who enjoy the confidence of the House of Commons. Okay, the House of Commons, guys. Together, the Prime Minister and other ministers from the Cabinet, which is responsible for to Parliament for government business. Ministers are also responsible for government departments, so on and so forth, whatever bullshit. But when we say government, quote unquote, we're usually referring to the executive branch, which is, again, the king. Parliament is legislature, All right, the Parliament now, again, you don't have separation of branches. You don't have three branches of government, even though I like how you guys list them here. The executive, judicial, and judiciary, right? Legislative, executive, legislative, judicial. You don't have three branches, actually, because look, Parliament is the legislative branch of the federal government. Parliament consists of the king, who is usually represented by the Governor General, okay? So again, another representative, so the king is not only the executor of the Canada, he's the top person in the legislative branch that makes the laws. The Governor General is his minister, is what we call it. The Senate and House and so the Senate and the House of Commons. Bills are debated and passed by the Senate and House. The Governor in General, which is the king's administrator, the king's overlord, must also give royal assent to a bill in order for it to become a law. Again, the Governor General must also give royal assent. What is royal assent? That means the king's approval. Without the king's approval, the Governor General will not approve something, right? So again, your legislative branch does not pass a law without the stamp of approval of the Governor General, who is underlord of the King of Great Britain, right? To pass laws, right? Now we'll move on to the Department of Justice, which is a bullshit-ass name for them. Our Constitution also includes provisions related to judicial branch, composed of judges that suck the dick of the king. The judiciary must interpret and apply the law and the Constitution and give impartial judgments in all cases, whether they're involve public, The Constitution only provides for federally appointed judges. Provisional judges are appointed under provisional laws. Whatever the fuck that means. All right, here we go.
Very good relationship. We've done well together.
Right here. What is a federal system? They don't have one. I'm not even going to waste my time reading that because it's irrelevant. Right here. This is what they think is a federal. So the Constitution Act, or what was better known as the Act that the Parliament of the United Kingdom passed, right? They changed the name because Canadians don't follow along with logic well sometimes. They authorize the Parliament to establish a General Court of Appeals for Canada, as well as any other courts to better administer the laws of Canada. Under this authority, that court, the Tax Court, and the Supreme Court of Canada were established. The federal Parliament mainly deals with issues that concerns Canada as a whole. Other bullshit that's irrelevant. And this is the funny part. They add this in here. Other federal systems. Australia and the United States also have federal systems where the jurisdiction is divided between federal and various states. In contrast, the United Kingdom has a unitary system where there is only one level of government. So, key, guys. So you have Canada, we'll say under the umbrella. So you say, imagine having an umbrella, right? An umbrella. Canada's under the umbrella. So you have your 3 alleged branches of government under the umbrella. And what's above them is the unitary system, not federal system. So you have a unitary monarch that controls the alleged 3 branches of government. So Canadians like to do the bottom-down view analysis of their government because they don't know how to do a top-down because they've been brainwashed by the British since day one that, they have their own government. They don't. It says right there, United Kingdom has a unitary system where there is only one level of government. One level of government. So you have a one level of government parliamentary act that created Canada, and allegedly there are 3 branches when really it's 2 because the king is part of the legislature. So there's the legislature, executive branch, and you have the judiciary. So there's really 2 branches of government in Canada. But moving on, guys. This is important for people to understand this. Canada is not a democracy. At all. I mean, they're not. They like to think they are. They're not. They are not. It was only the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom that human rights in Canada were protected in the written constitution. Again, they don't have a written constitution. They have a law. Where is it? And by jurialism, whatever the fuck that is, both common and civil law systems. Either way, that was last modified, whatever. So now let's go to the original act. This shit's so funny. Canada is so funny. I love Canada. It is so funny. Canada is so funny. And I'm not going to read all this shit. All right, here we go. I'm going to read the beginning because it tells you a lot. Tells you a lot. The king really has no say. I just read you your law. The king has a lot of say. You have what's called the Governor General that has to give royal decree or royal assent to all the laws. Did you not read what I said? You're not paying attention, so tired. I know you can deny it, but that's how your government works. You need to learn your own government before you start making random shit like that makes no sense because government website, Canadian website on justice.cg.ca. It's an official government website. This is your constitution. Whereas the provinces of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick have expressed their desire to be federally united into one dominion under the crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland with a constitution similar to the principles that which of the United Kingdom. Okay, again, you could read. Let's not be stupid here. Let's not play the stupid card here. Like, at all. Let's just not play the dumb card, you guys. This is your Constitution. This is the British North American Act of 1867, or what you call the Constitution Act of 1867. I'm going to zoom in here. What does that say? One dominion under, like I said, the crown or the umbrella, one dominion under the crown of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, right? I mean, these are facts. These are facts. Like, you can't deny this. This is your Constitution, this law. This was a law written. This is not a constitution. This is a law. British North American Act of 1867, or what you guys call the Constitution Act of 1867, that was later amended by the Constitution Act of 1982. I mean, you can look all this up. Fact check me. I'm going by your document. And whereas the union, such a union would conduce to the welfare, providence, that shit doesn't matter. Whereas the establishment of the union, not only the Constitution, but the nature, that shit doesn't matter. All right. Be it therefore, keep in mind there was a queen at the time when this was enacted. Be it therefore enacted and declared by the Queen's most excellent majesty, and by and with advice and consent of the Lord, Spirit, and Temporal and Commons, and the President of Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, as follows, guys. So there is the royal assent to this act, right? They have to start it. And I'm not going to read all this because it's a bunch of fucking woo-ha. It's a bunch of bullshit. Right here. Executive power. The executive government and authority of and over Canada is hereby declared to continue and be vested in the Queen. Right? This is your Constitution, or what's called the Constitution Act of 1867, right? They have a king. Well, they're right. It's a queen, actually, but they have a king now. There shall be a council to aid and advice in the government of Canada, to be styled the Queen's Privy Council for Canada, and the person who member from time to time choose summoned by the Governor General, the person who gives the royal assent of all laws passed in the Parliament of Canada. Without it, they pass no laws, you guys. All powers, Let's get to the juicy shit. All right. Powers to Her Majesty. Okay. It shall be lawful for the Queen, if Her Majesty thinks fit, to authorize the Governor General, the one who oversees your Parliament, that gives the royal decree to all laws in your country, from time to time to appoint any person or persons jointly and severely to be his deputies within parts of Canada. That's where you get your governors and everybody else. Their elections are a bunch of bullshit, guys. They're just administering the king's fucking will. That's all they're doing when you study this shit. This is why we offset these motherfuckers, guys. This is exactly the shit that our founding fathers were dealing with, guys, is this legal bullshit, this legal decree. Fuck monarchy. Fuck it in its entirety. I will fucking burn your Constitution next time I go to fucking Canada. And I'll burn it. And guess what? They're going to be taking me to jail. Shall not affect I'm not even going to read that shit. I'm not even going to read that shit. All right. Now here, guys. The Commander-in-Chief of the Land and Naval Militia and all naval and military forces of and in Canada is here declared to continue and be vested in the Queen. You guys have no commander-in-chief. How can you be a government or have a government without a commander-in-chief? The Queen or the King now is your commander-in-chief. We have our own government since... I'm reading the 1867 law, so tired. You have not dismantled this. 1982 was the amendment where you guys did nothing. You don't have a completely separate government. I'm going to get to the 1982 document. Trust me, we'll get there. We'll get there. But again, that is an act of the United Kingdom Parliament that had a royal decree by the governor. I don't know why I'm explaining this. This shit's going in one ear and out the other. You don't even care to understand your own form of government. That's how stupid the average liberal Canadian is. Because conservative Canadians, they know this shit. I'm speaking directly to them tonight, not to the liberals, because the liberals, they want China, they want communism, they want socialism, they want this shitty free healthcare that doesn't exist. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about none of this shit. The seat of government shall be Ottawa until the Queen says otherwise. There should be one parliament consisting of the Queen, upper house, da 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 da. Let's skip through all this shit. Now let's go to the other document, right? The Constitution Act, 1982, right? Again, we'll go to a government source. Make sure it's a government source. Let me find the juicy part. Let me find it. All right. Legal rights, da 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 da. This is just a breakdown of what I read earlier, right? Let me see if I could find it. Department citation, the charters of cited as people. Okay, there's a part in here I don't even have time to look for it, but here it is. The Constitution Act of 1982. This is where the Canadians think that they declared sovereignty from, like we did from the British, right? The Declaration of Independence. Show me in this document, so tired. Show me the line. Give me the paragraph 1, section A. Tell me where in the Constitution Act of 1982 that you keep referencing, where it says that you guys are a sovereign country and you offset the king or queen and you guys are a free people. Show me in here where it says that. I'll wait. I'll wait till you show me. Because I've read this a bunch. And I used to read that. I used to study Canadian politics because it's so fascinating. You guys are just mind-fucked to think that the Parliament can pass a law that has to go through a royal assent and be passed by the king, that he somehow granted you guys sovereignty when you're still under the king. You still said that you have a king, but he has no power. How do you still have a king, but he has no power? It's just backwards. Show me in here. Direct me to it. Because I don't see any declaration of anything other than granting you guys rights. A law, a parliamentary act granted you guys rights. That's all I see. Yes, Canada already is our puppet state. They already are our 51st state. You just don't realize it yet. We're waiting for your people to offset the fucking powers that be and to stand up for yourselves. That's what we're waiting for, because we can't do it for you. We can't go into Canada and help you free yourself from the chains. You have to want to free yourself. And again, you can't show me where you're not still living under a despotism, the despotism that we fought from. Show me in your Constitution Act of 1982. I challenge any Canadian that finds this video or is listening, I challenge you to show me in here where you guys gained your sovereignty from the crown. The Constitution Act of 1982 did not do that. I just read you the Constitution Act of 1867, where it says the Queen, that runs the whole show, is your commander in chief. Where in here does that abolish those things, those powers that were delegated to her when she made you guys a satellite country? Show me in here, because it doesn't exist. I know it's a hard thing to swallow, but I actually had an argument years ago, about 10 years ago, with a Canadian, and I thought he was schooling me, like, oh, Canada probably is more free than us. Then I did the research. And I was fucking mind-fucked by how simple these documents are. Literally, if you go to look at the Constitution Act of 1867 and the Constitution Act of 1982, I'm citing these documents, and they're both on the Canada website. They're super simple documents. They're short as fuck. They're not like our documents where they're long. They're super simple and sweet. Most Canadians have never read either of them. They never even read them. They get taught in school, like, breakdown of their rights, right? Like, this is what our right is, and this is an example of your right. It's a bunch of bullshit. They have no constitution. They have no freedom. They are not a democracy. They are not a constitutional monarch. They're a satellite state. They're a despot that sits over across an ocean, and they're still ran like they used to run us as a colony, and we offset them. Let's just be real, and I have nothing against Canada, but Either way, Canadians need to wake up, and I wish they would, because it's kind of a sad thing when the Canadians tell us that how bad we have it in America. But I could point to our Constitution. I could bring it up. I could show you the Declaration of Independence, right? But either way, moving on. Enough with the Canada shit. Enough with the Canada shit. The best thing that could ever happen to Canada is the Canadians stand up for themselves. That's the best thing that could ever happen to Canada is the Canadians stand up for themselves. Because you know what? Us Americans, we're not going to do it for you. Period. We're just not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Canada, you're going to have to stand up for yourself. Yeah, Americans don't have it hard. I agree with that 100%. And honestly, there's this theory that, you know, maybe we have too many freedoms. I mean, I don't agree with it, but the theory goes that maybe we have too many freedoms, too many privileges, that we forget about it. So we sit here and bicker and bitch, and then we have all these first world problems like the internet's off, or the Wi-Fi is not working, and the power went off, or, you know, my latte was not sweet enough, or it was a single shot instead of a double shot, right? Shit like that. When other countries, they're thinking about survival. You know, surviving the next day, right? We have it really good in America. And guess what? Right here, this is why, guys. So yeah, next Canadian that wants to say that they're a democracy or a constitutional monarch, I mean, you're just going to get me triggered, and I'm going to go down this fucking rant every time. From now on, anytime I hear that shit, rant time. Because yeah, I went around, trust me, on this debate years ago on the Canadian thing, and yeah, I have no respect for the government of Canada. I have no respect for the crown, the British crown, the monarch. I have no respect. I'm a real 1776 no kings kind of person. Like, I don't believe in the monarch whatsoever. I'm a very radical thinker when it comes to monarchy and 1776 stuff. So like the people we have in our country, like the no kings, I agree with them wholeheartedly, but I don't accept their premise that Trump is the king that we're fighting against, right? That's where I cross the line. I'm like, no, he's not a king. But I agree with no kings since 1776, 100%. But we still have the Canadians just north of us. Poor some bitches. I feel bad for them. I really do. I feel bad for them. I didn't get involved. Well, Canada is a satellite state. It's true. Like, if you study geopolitics, I already told you, it's a satellite state. It is the 51st state. And guess what? The day when the Canadians stand up for themselves, we will gladly welcome you guys into the American family. And then we'll exploit the shit out of Canada. We'll have the Arctic, all the Arctic. I mean, look what we did with Canada from Russia, right? That was the greatest thing to ever happen to our country, to be honest with you. That was the single most important thing to help Canada offset the yoke of their fucking overlords. Will they? I don't think so, guys. I don't think the Canadians ever will. Because if you meet the average Canadian, they're bobby haircut and they got Down syndrome and shit. Their culture is being overran by fucking multiculturalism. People from other countries, other religions. They're not Canadians. A lot of Canadians are not Canadians. And I'm not talking down on them, but they are being overran by multiculturalism, like you're seeing in Europe, like you're seeing in other places, where the pacifists, they're basically saying, we have white privilege, and they're allowing the multiculturalism to take over the country. And it's sad. It's sad because guess what? The day will come, maybe not in all of our lifetimes, but they will come when these people take over your government because you're too scared to. They will take it over, and then we'll go fight to free your country. But it'll be too late by then. It'll be too late by then because we won't be fighting Canadians there. We'll be fighting the multiculturalists that took over your country, and that's where it's going. I give it 100 years. Canada will not be a country. I mean, you're not even a country now. I give it 100 years. We all of us will not be here. 100 years, and we'll have to go save your guys' country, and that's, I don't even think it'll last long. Maybe sooner. Maybe sooner. They compromise. They don't have a culture. That's the problem. Their culture is over. Like, they got taken over. Like, go to Canada, guys, and just observe it. Don't go and spew the shit that I do, but just go observe Canada. Like, the Canadians, they're friendly ass people. Don't get me wrong. They are friendly people. They are super friendly, and that's part of their problem. Part of their problem.